Hello again. Hey, Mitchell here. Great to see you. Um, Great to be seen, I hope. Anyway, um, hey, I've got some really cool stuff today. Uh, I'm calling this one Coming Into Your You, okay? Uh, and it happened because yesterday I was noticing that I wasn't feeling quite as good as I normally do. All right. In fact, I was starting to feel a little in the funk. And uh, number one point on that is that even when I notice that, hey, I am in a funk and I want to feel better and I have the tools, I know how to change the way I feel. I didn't want to do it. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm in the funk and I might just stay here. There is a momentum. There is some sort of a sense that keeps you locked into whatever path you're on, whether it's anxiety, fear, depression. There is something inside of us that wants us to stay on that track. And that to me, that's that magnetic pull of the ego. The ego has more control when you are in in a place that is susceptible. Okay, when you're not in your power, you're you're weakened. You are more susceptible to the magnetic pull of the cultural mythology that ego is more in charge of. Okay, fascinating kind of awareness that came to me. Um, and anyway, uh, that was the first piece. The second piece was I was noticing that I was watching certain characters in the news that I feel um, are not doing us any real service. That are not serving the United States, the people. They're very self-serving, and they're uh, not people who I feel good about. And because of that, I noticed that I was, in a weird way, identifying. I was coming closer to who they were than who I am. And simply by watching them, and then there is, and for me, I'm tremendously empathic. So maybe I was empathizing, but not in a way that was trying to help or cure, is in a way that I was just feeling how they feel and feeling the energy of this very uh, greed driven, fear driven, anger driven individuals. Um, and so I was um, generating those feelings. And I was putting my attention to it. My awareness, my mind, my creation became those things. Uh, the fear, the anxiety, the need for control. That's really what it was, and this drive for control that is not a healthy feeling at all, because control doesn't come from manipulating things and money and people. Control comes from coming back in. Why? Why? What's in here? Well, that's the fascinating thing. Is uh, um, in here is the infinite, and it's a little different than what you get from the pull of the ego. The ego pull is very magnetic. It's got a stickiness to it. And once you get in that pull and in those areas, it's hard to reverse and come out. Um, but I kind of got off track here. I want to back up. So I was paying attention to these people who I don't agree with in a very strong way, and noticed that my energy was syncing up with what they were. And that to me was a shocker because I'm like, no, that's not who I am. And that's why it felt so bad. And that's what was feeling so bad, is just observing and feeling. Maybe in my mind, I was feeling the contrary of what they were doing, but it was really the same thing because I was in their realm of manipulation. So they're trying to manipulate uh, money, people, properties, and that is the realm of the ego, and it's using the tools of that realm, which are fear and anger and manipulation. So anyway, big realization, pulled back. It's subtle. It's subtle, but at the same time, it's very, very real. And so pulled back from even giving my attention to them. But man, they have they are such scoundrels that it's really, really hard to not pay attention to them. And even on, the more enlightened channels, they're saying you need to be aware of what these people are doing. And in this instance, I realized that no, I don't. I need to be aware of what I want. Okay. Big difference. If I am in here in this space where I have the um, the backing of all infinity behind my ability to create, then I don't need to know what they're doing in order for me to create what I want. Because what I want is coming from pure power, from pure source. What they're doing is they're manipulating the leftovers of the creations that we already did. And so they're playing with, you know, yesterday's stuff. It's it's pre-chewed gum. There's no flavor left in it. And they're fighting over those last little flavor crystals, okay? So um anyway, again, it was so hard to turn my attention away from that because, we are taught, we're conditioned to say, I need to know what's going on so I know what to do in retaliation or in reaction response to that. And the pure awareness of who I am and being into myself coming in brought me into a massive power difference. Out there, it was a control issue where I had no leverage and they had all the leverage, and they were wielding that leverage and they were showing it and they were flaunting this leverage. When I came in here, they didn't exist. And so for me to be concerned about what they were doing was a non-issue. And I stayed in here and really found my own power and visualized very strongly what it is that I want, and not as a response to what is out there or what is happening, but what I want to produce in the world, irrespective of anything that is out there. It was a real deep dive, understanding who I am, what I bring to this experience, and then looking in here and then using the understanding of the physicality to be able to put definitions and ideas and structure to the feeling. That's what the mind was for. It wasn't for trying to figure out how to counter what they have going on when I have this much leverage and they've got all the leverage, okay? That's why that felt so bad, and that's why this shift felt so good. But again, there for a while, it was hard to stay in here because the idea kept coming back of, oh, they're doing, or I wonder what that scoundrel said next. You know, all these little things. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. And it's the play. Yeah, I can watch the play. I can watch the play. The play's happening up there on stage, but I can always go out into the lobby and get popcorn. And the popcorn is more real to me than the act that's on the stage. Or even if it's a movie, right? If it's a movie, I can go out, I can get popcorn, come back in. And the fascinating thing is when the movie's over, the screen is white. Okay. But I still have my popcorn right here. Okay. So, strange little metaphor that just kind of came out of nowhere, but I think it works. Okay. Um, anyway, I've given a couple meditations and processes, uh, and those are background. Okay. Yesterday I did one, how to navigate fear, and that was a vagal toning exercise. You might remember we did like the namaste. And then not only did we do the namaste, but we did the oming, or we did humming. So always incorporate the body. The body starts toning this ventral vagal nerve, starts creating more attention towards your parasympathetic. Your parasympathetic becomes the default rather than the sympathetic. The parasympathetic is safety and well-being and feeling good. And the sympathetic is fight or flight, anxiousness, fear, anxiety. Okay. And our body has created a default. And so use those exercises that I gave you yesterday in the fear, navigating the fear video, to begin to tonify the parasympathetic so that your body itself has the strength or its anchor in well-being rather than in stress and anxiety and fear. So that's a huge piece of this, getting the body in alignment for success, right? What was the big thing the other day? The Super Bowl, right? Now, this guy might have all the skill in the world. He might be able to, run, pass, catch, whatever his position is. But if he doesn't get in the gym and make his body stronger and faster than the next guy, whether he can pass, catch, and run doesn't matter. He still needs his body to be able to perform at the level of his built-in skill and his understanding of the game. Okay, so we can have the skill and the understanding in the mind, but the body itself needs to be conditioned for what's happening. So do those tonings, do the vagal toning, do the humming breath. The humming breath is amazing. And again, that's in and out only through the nose. So when you're humming, your mouth is closed. And when I talk about doing the inhale and the exhale is always twice as long as your inhale. When you hum, you'll notice that your exhale can be 10 times as long as your inhale. And that is creating a very oxygen absorptive environment in your body, which then is really, really, really pushing your organs and your ability to come into the hippocampus and the prefrontals and those places where the chemicals that saturate your body will be those of the feel-good nature and of the safety nature. The endorphins and the serotonins and the melatonins will start to flood the body. Whereas when you're just living in default, you're more in the amygdala. The chemical saturation of your body is coming from the stress chemicals and the adrenalines and the cortisols. So we are just sort of reversing all that simply by changing our breath. And that humming breath is massively helpful because it also introduces a huge amount of nasal nitric oxide into your bloodstream. And that helps with elasticity, helps with absorption, helps with all kinds of things, boosts your immune system. So do the humming. So it's inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, humming. And the lower the register, the better. Well, to a degree. You know, if you're a natural baritone, you may want to come up one. But if you have a high voice, try and bring it down. And tongue is at the roof of the mouth. And while you're doing the humming breath, if you're all alone, which you most likely will be because it's probably you're going to be a little self-conscious about it, let your eyes wander. Okay? And in fact, you can do this thing with the eye where you take them as far to one side or the other as you can and hold them there. Hold your eyes, for example, to the left as hard as you can until you feel a discomfort behind your eyes. You're stimulating this nerve to release, the vagus nerve. And then you're going to do the opposite. And you'll hold your eyes for about 30 seconds or more, okay? And then you can go up and down. Just really exercise the eyes, get that ocular muscle back here to open up, to start firing. It helps to clear out whatever is in those nerves. Those nerves get saturated with the cortisols, the adrenalines, and when they get held and stretched, they can get flushed a little bit, okay? And then we can refresh them with those well-being chemicals, okay? So you'll notice in my videos, I seem to be all over the place, but it's a physical thing and a mental thing, okay? We're in a time now where we've got to put all the tools to use. If you have any questions about breath work or about meditations, please, please, please get a hold of me. I have seen so many breath works that are popular today, but are very detrimental to an individual's diagnosis or issue. But they just see it and they say, "Oh, this is what I need to do." And yes, breath work, yes, but this breath work, maybe not. So what I want to do, what I'm teaching here in these videos are down-regulating breaths and down-regulating practices for the vagus nerve, okay? Because we are in a place where, I was going to say, I don't care who you are, but there may be some people who need to upregulate. But we're in a place right now where down-regulating our system is going to be the most helpful. And then it also is very opening. It's very opening. I mean, that's the fascinating thing. And I can go into the metaphysics of it too, but I'm going to go into that more on a private consultation, unless, of course, you want to hear about it, leave a comment. So anyway, Great to see you guys. Like, subscribe, give me a comment of anything that you want to see. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.